Yo! Welcome to the show, BroMob. We're your hosts, Chad and Brian. Today is Tuesday, October 15th, and as always, another great fantasy football week in the books. Brian, I don't know about you, but I got to win in every league this week. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, not the case for me. But I got the wins in the leagues that are the most important to me, and that is our league of record 6-0. My God, I am good, and then hopefully gonna be getting this dub in the listener league. Although Aaron Jones' fumble that just happened as we were entering the recording, not making me very happy, Chad.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little tough. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna win though.
You feel it?
I feel it like in my ear.
That's all that matters, man.
It's right in my ear.
Yesterday, I was feeling down and out. Thought I had lost in our league of record. But then out of nowhere, Steelers defense steps it up. Juju, asleep.
Yep.
Third string quarterback doesn't need to throw the ball. They keep scoring anyway. I felt good. I was like, oh, no.
So I don't know what to make of Juju, right? I mean, I just don't know what to think of Juju. So he had one catch for 7 yards, and I guess I get it, right? It's Chargers defense. Maybe they're good.
Quarterback.
I don't get it, man. I know it's third string quarterback. That is true.
He threw to his running backs all game.
What are you doing if you're a Juju? I mean, here's the deal. I'm a Juju owner in our Dynasty League. Obviously, I'm not panicking there. I'm just going to hold him. I've got plenty of depth. I don't know why I played him this week. I did. I regret it. But, what if you're for redraft, Chad, like what are you doing with Juju like right now? I mean, are you panicking? I'm panicking.
What's your record?
Well, I don't have him, but I'm just saying if I had him.
Oh, I thought you said you had him.
No, I do not. I have him in Dynasty.
Thought this was a hypothetical. Thought it was.
Oh, it is
for real.
It is hypothetical. Hypothetically, I have him. So I'm
hypothetically real.
I'm also hypothetically panicking. So my question for you is: should I hypothetically panic?
Well, it depends on your record. If you're winning, you're going to be trading him for virtually nothing, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you're losing, there's no difference. So
let's look at an example. I'm looking at a guy that has him, and he's going to be 1-5.
Yep.
Are you panicking?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm trying to move
panicking,
what I
right?
can to get some wins. Yeah. There's nothing else you can do, right? I mean, you can't wait any longer. You're going to keep waiting. You're going to keep losing.
Right.
So you got to take a chance.
So
I think it's somebody because he's not going to get you any that return value that you're hoping. He's not going to get it. So you got to pair him with somebody to get something good.
But he does still have name value. I mean, so
not really, man.
I mean, no.
I mean, he's got a third string quarterback thrown to him.
Well, yeah, but
there's no possibility for Ben Roethlisberger to come back. It's looking ugly.
Well, so they got he's not a rookie anymore, but I mean, I guess, I don't know. Are you a rookie if you still haven't played? Like, let's say you're drafted and then you sit on the bench for 3 years. Are you still a rookie? So, like, at what point do you not become a rookie anymore?
That's true. I have no idea.
BroMob,
are you a rookie when you're on the practice squad?
Yeah. Are you a practice rook? So I don't really know I don't know how the rules work, but I don't know. Anyway, long story short, I'm starting to get itchy about Juju in leagues where I hypothetically have him. So
I'm gonna be honest. If you're in Dynasty, hold him because you're not gonna get the value for him, and he gets Roethlisberger back next season. It should look better. Yeah. So it's gonna hurt if you can get high value for him. Roll with it, right? I mean, he's still young. He's still worth money in Dynasty. But if someone's trying to steal him, don't get rid of him.
Yeah. So, what's funny is I've been talking about hypothetically owning him. I just realized I do own him in one of my leagues. So for redraft. So I'm looking at that league and I'm doing okay. I believe I'm going to be 3-3 in that league. I am the second or third, one of the two highest scoring teams in that league. I've just had a really rough schedule. So I'm not panicking, although I will tell you that I also have Tyler Boyd in that league, and he scored 1 point for me.
Yeah, you might want to panic with that one too.
Yeah.
Just saying, we're going to be talking about some trades later. So maybe you try to, you back and forth it.
I just want to know what happened right there.
I had a little stroke.
Yeah. At least I know now in the future what a stroke sounds like for you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Just be worried next time you hear that. All right, BroMob. Well, we got a lot to talk about here. We're going to get into the show. First, be sure to follow along after the show by following us on Twitter and Instagram at FF Bros Podcast. Be sure to search that hashtag BroMob, and be sure to drop us a like, drop us a follow wherever you can. We're out here to try to help you guys win games and help you move forward to that championship game. All right, without further ado, let's get into the show. Fantasy Weekly Recap. Ooh, that drop is nice. Always. All right, BroMob, well, you know what that music means? It's recap time. We're going to start it off with the Giants-Patriots game, or it was a game for about 3/4 of it, right, Brian? I mean, and then that defense finally woke up and stopped Daniel Jones. I mean, the Giants were in this game for quite some time. They were one score away, but then that fumble return for a touchdown just changed everything. This defense is for real, man. They got 14 interceptions on the season so far. There's no other team with multiple or double-digit interceptions yet this season. They're looking good. Brady passed Peyton Manning for second all-time in the passing yards category in the NFL. So he also had 2 rushing touchdowns in this game, putting 3 on the season, which is insane to me. It's ridiculous. So love this game. Golden Tate's back. Big game against a really good defense. Liked it a lot. So very good game. Very fun game to watch. It was interesting to watch there. Panthers-Bucks. Let's get into this one real quick. Kerryon Johnson just absolutely going nuts over here in my face. Panthers-Bucks. Kyle Allen. Brian, listen to this statistic. Kyle Allen is 5-0 when starting for the Panthers since 2018, since he came into the team there. Guess what their stat is whenever he's not starting for them?
0-9.
They
believe, right?
Good job.
Yeah.
Reading my note.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate the insight.
Thank you for just
I scanned
reading what
for
I had.
It quickly. I'll quickly scan. He's got to have a note on this.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's looking pretty bad for Cam if he wants to come back this season. Kyle Allen's very, very capable for this team. You know who's very capable? CMC. Though he was held to a very modest game on the ground, it didn't matter. He had 2 touchdowns on the game. Looked good. He's a beast. Can't be tackled hardly ever. You know who else is a beast, Brian? Chris Godwin. This guy is a legitimate wide receiver 1. Having himself his breakout campaign this year, looking good, man. I mean, even when the Bucks don't look good, he's looking good. So I like it. I got him on a couple teams. Got him in our charity league. Looks good there. We're looking nice. This game was fun to watch.
Yeah, Chad. Next game here is Bengals-Ravens. So Bengals off to a terrible start for the year. First time they've been 0-6 on a season since 2008. Not looking good. That offensive line is devastated, and it really, all the injuries that started the season for them, it has really kind of wrecked their potential. Looking forward to AJ Green coming back, hopefully maybe this week.
Yeah, it could be.
So yeah, I think that'd be kind of fun, but they need to get something going. They need a little bit of a spark. On the other end of the ball, Ravens looking great. Lamar Jackson. What a steal in this year's drafts. I mean, most likely drafted, beyond the 10th round, at the earliest, maybe the 8th or 9th. I mean, he is the number 3 quarterback on the year right now. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And his floor is so high, because of his rushing ability.
That's what I love.
Yeah, exactly. So, most career rushing yards, for him in this game, over 150 yards, just a great game. Seahawks-Browns, Chad. Seahawks are 3-0 on the road to start the season. They're looking solid. Unfortunately, Disley went down to injury in this game. That's going to be a big blow for a lot of fantasy owners. This was a breakout tight end candidate this year. So, it's probably going to, if you're a Lockett owner or a DK Metcalf owner, in really even a Chris Carson owner, I think this is a positive for you. These guys are going to get more involved. I really think this is a big boost for Lockett with those inside passes and so forth. But Nick Chubb continuing to be a beast on the other side of the ball with the Browns. Look, Baker Mayfield is I don't know if it's his fault or if it's the offensive line. I think it's a little bit of both.
Probably.
I think the offensive line, I think Baker's good if he's got time. But when he is in any kind of a pressure situation, he makes bad decisions with the ball. So for me, I'm not looking to start Baker Mayfield unless I have a golden matchup. He's somebody I'm staying away from. OBJ is just I didn't see this coming. Like I really thought OBJ would be having a better season this year. He had a good performance in this game, Chad. So
he did.
Overall, I just
could have been a better performance though.
Yeah, it was decent. He had six catches for 101 yards, so no touchdown.
I think he had 3 drops in this game.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think people drafted OBJ for more, and this is
absolutely.
He's an up and down kind of guy, and I think they're having a hard time. Him and Baker are having a hard time being on the same page. There's a lot of throws behind him. He had a interception because the throw was behind him, and he visibly looked frustrated. So
this is what you see though with new wide receivers in new systems. There's some headaches that first year when they're on the team. They always have some struggles.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Browns have said they're not interested in trading him, but I almost think, I hate to say this, but I almost think if you're the Browns, do you trade OBJ and then take some picks and go get some offensive linemen in this next draft?
Well, that and this next draft is just full of offensive talent. You can get a wide receiver for cheaper, and could have the same upside type of player. Yep. So pretty interesting. Yeah. So let's move on here, Brian. We got a lot to talk about on this show. We got Saints Jags. This was a boring game to watch actually. Not much going on until about the fourth quarter. I think it was 6-6 until halfway into the fourth for this game. It just didn't look good. Not much getting accounted for in the offense. Minshew looked very outmatched in this one. The Saints defense is one of those sneaky good defenses, man. They can, when Marshawn Lattimore is locked down in his game, this defense thrives. And Brian, listen to this statistic too. Teddy Bridgewater has now won 7 of his last 8 road starts. I told you before, he's one of the winningest QBs in the league right now. He continues to, he didn't look great in this, but he did enough to win the game, and that's all that matters in football. Let's move into this next one. We got Texans Chiefs. Chiefs upset in this one. Again, back-to-back losses. The Texans looked great. Carlos Hyde ran all over them. It's kind of like the normal script for the Chiefs, right, Brian? Everybody can run against them, no matter who you are. Carlos Hyde, this is the first 100-yard rushing performance for the Texans in a long, long time. And Carlos Hyde, not necessarily one of the best running backs in the league, but was able to put up 100 and a touchdown against this very poor defense. Will Fuller, I love him so much, but he let me down in this one. Dropped 2 big passes that could have been a very big game for him, but he missed out on it just for getting in his own head mental mistakes there. Tyreek Hill, he's back. I watched Tyreek Hill, who is probably as tall as I am, Brian, short as can be, outjump 3 guys for a touchdown. So it was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, so what I like about the Texans, Chad, is, I don't know if you know this, but Deshaun Watson hasn't been sacked in 2 games. And, the offensive line has gotten a lot better. They made that trade for the left tackle, and that has been unbelievable for Deshaun Watson. And he has looked better. It's made the offense better. They're running the ball more efficiently. So you have Carlos Hyde, like you said, over 100 yards in this game. So I really like the Texans moving forward. I think that offense can be stellar. Moving on, Chad, Redskins, Dolphins, or what I like to call the 2019 Dumpster Bowl.
That's actually the sound of a car not being able to turn over.
Yeah. So every year we have a game like this where it's terrible teams playing each other, and you're just like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens. So that did not disappoint. 17-16 final score. Here's the deal. So Nightmare Terror, Chad's new nickname for Scary Terry or Terry McLaurin, was in full effect. He had a huge game. Another great game. Case Keenum was throwing it all over the place to him. Here's the deal, though. I called this. Adrian Peterson, 23 carries for 118 yards. A solid game. So hopefully you guys listened. You got your Petersons rolling because he did not disappoint. Washington ended up pulling the win. Dolphins I don't even know, man. They look bad. So Rosen was pulled from the game. Fitzpatrick was put in. He didn't do much better. 130 yards and a touchdown while he was in there. Rosen's still the starter from what I've heard.
Really?
So, yep. Miami said today, Rosen's still their guy. They just felt like making a change during the game. What are you doing? So I truly believe at this point you're just tanking. Dolphins are going to get the number 1 draft pick most likely. They're going to draft the quarterback. So Rosen, you're tired. You got to run borrowed time, bruh. So anyway, Eagles. We spent too much time on Redskins, Dolphins. Eagles, Vikings, Stefan Diggs. Wow, what a game! Mm-hmm. Hopefully you had him in the lineup. I know a lot of people that didn't. One guy in our league of record in particular, 3 touchdowns is a career high for him. I'm gonna call right now. Trade Stefan Diggs. Trade
Absolutely.
him now.
Vikings.
Look,
trade him.
Trade him. No, Vikings as well,
Vikings
but also fantasy owners trade him. Use this as trade bait. Dalvin Cook had a good game. Yardage was held in check, but he did get a touchdown. Chad, do we have a bet on this game?
No.
Okay, never mind.
We had a bet with Nick Chubb.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Eagles, I think the Eagles are really missing their deep threats. The team's banged up right now. Wentz is still getting a lot of pressure. Ertz just not connecting with him like he normally would. I don't know what to think about the Eagles, and their schedule's not going to get any better over the next couple weeks. So I don't know. Chad, you and I were arguing about Carson Wentz before the pod recording here. I'm going to pivot if I'm a Carson Wentz owner. I'm going to try to move him, but that's just me.
I'm looking at a team that's 3-3. They got to win. They're going to have to throw. So I still like Carson. All right, let's move into the next game here, Brian. Falcons-Cardinals, another upset here. Cardinals with their back-to-back wins, and the Falcons with their first 1-5 start since 2007. This defense, Brian, is just terrible. And on top of it, Matt Ryan's not looking, and though he's looking good in fantasy purposes, he's putting up some good fantasy stat lines because the defense is terrible. They got to keep throwing. Matt Ryan's making some really costly mistakes, making him lose games. It's not looking good there. So the team needs to make some changes. Not saying Matt Ryan needs to sit. They just need to make some changes to win some games. It's clear. Kyler Murray, on the other hand, starting to find a rhythm in this offense, this air raid offense. The offense itself is starting to look good too. I guess it's pretty easy playing against one of the worst defenses in the league. But Kyler Murray, David Johnson, also a big game in this one. 2 touchdowns, about 100 yards from scrimmage. Just a big game offensively for both teams, really. 49ers, Rams, talk about bad offensive games. The Rams just don't look good on offense. The 49ers defense look phenomenal. They are just great. This whole team in general looks unstoppable. They're undefeated, if you didn't know this. Their defense not allowing anything to happen. Their offense rushing out over everybody in the world. They're looking scary good. Tevin Coleman, multiple goal line carries, but he was stuffed a few times. Mostert seems to be the closer for whenever they're actually the games are out of reach, and Matt Breida continues to look like the most explosive back in the NFL. But the Rams need to find a groove on offense, man. Jared Goff not looking good. He's not looking comfortable in the pocket. I mean, he just lost an offensive lineman this week. It's not going to be looking good. Aaron Jones with a big drop there. Good job, Brian. Way to start him in multiple leagues.
That was so. Did you just see everything I was doing? I can't believe what I just saw.
Absolutely going crazy in the background.
In his hands, and he just
wide open,
butterfingered. Oh, wide open.
Ate some popcorn.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Brian, what do we got next?
I don't know. What are we doing? I'm so upset.
I don't even know where I am.
All right. I don't know. Cowboys, Jets. Is that where we're at? I didn't listen to a word you said. I was so upset about this Aaron Jones stuff. You have no idea. Yeah, so Titans Broncos, I believe, is where we're at. It was exactly what I said it would. Defensive game. Broncos held the Titans to a whopping 0 points. It was a very ugly game. Ryan Tannehill replaced Mariota, which is, I think, what we said. This could be the game Mariota get. Yeah, you did.
And you were like, I don't know, they're going to play it out. Nope.
I mean, look, it's not like Tannehill looked any better. Let's be honest. No, so
they both look terrible.
Yeah. So this was almost like the Bronc or the Redskins Dolphins game. It was just a bad game. It might have been worse. So, well, I mean, it was a 16-0 final. Joe Flacco threw for 177 yards on 28 attempts.
That's a winning QB there.
Yeah, there you go. But hey, Phillip Lindsay studded out 15 carries, 70 yards at a touchdown. He was the guy you wanted to play. Cortland Sutton, like we said, don't play him. Cowboys Jets. This was a game that really got me. I did not expect this. So Cowboys lose their third straight game. Sam Darnold returns. It looked great. Robbie Anderson benefited from having Darnold back. I dropped him this week like an idiot, and
I bet a lot of people did.
Go figure. Well, I had to make room. Well, look, anyway, I shouldn't have. I did because I wanted to make some room to pick a different guy up, and it is what it is. Zeke had a big game on the Cowboys. That was about the only person that did. Amari Cooper went down to an injury in this game. So, Chad, what do you think about this Amari Cooper stuff? Is this something that owners should be concerned about?
I mean, yeah, the guy's one of the most heavily used wide receivers in the game. And the way he plays, just all of his cuts that he does, any sort of leg injury, I'm hearing that it's a quad bruise right now. It could become something worse than that, of course. But I mean, if he's feeling pain in the legs, it's going to be hard for him to cut. That's part of his game, is that he's one of the best man-to-man coverage guys. He can break the route so fast. If he can't do that, then that kind of defeats his game. I'm happy if I'm Zeke owners, because Zeke, as we saw in this game, without Amari Cooper, is just going to get fed, both in the passing game and on the ground. But if I'm Amari Cooper owners, I'm a little worried. Keeping an eye on him throughout the week here, just to see his status.
Now I'm watching Jamal Williams. Just I hate everything right now.
Let me take you out of your misery here, Brian. I'll go ahead and I'll move forward. You can sit there and sulk.
Thanks.
Steelers, Chargers. Oh, man, talk about sulking. The Chargers, I don't know if you've been following anybody on Twitter, Keenan Allen or any of the other folks on this team, but they are sad, man. They can't win these close games at all. Chargers have lost 5 of the last 6 home primetime games, so anytime they're actually on big-time TV games they're embarrassing themselves. It's kind of sad. The team, however, did benefit from getting Hunter Henry back in this game. He had a huge game, 2 touchdowns, multiple receptions, huge yardage, big game for the guy. Did not expect him to have a big game first time he came back here. But everywhere else, they just pretty much looked lost. Melvin Gordon looked bad. Austin Eckler looked bad. Their receiving game outside of Hunter Henry. Mike Williams actually he strung together a decent game, but Keenan Allen held in check. The team seems to be struggling, man. The Steelers, however, that defense loves to put pressure on people. Because of that, they make mistakes. Phillip Rivers, interception in this game. They had a fumble return for a touchdown in this game. It was an impressive defensive outing for this team, and an impressive rushing attack for this team, too. James Conner, though he got injured, had a big game. Benny Snell, the rookie, had himself a good game, 17 carries, over 70 yards rushing. The team looked decent running the ball. Passing the ball, not so much. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's recap, BroMob. We're going to get into some awesome things here. We got a lot of news to talk about, so let's get into it.
Genius, genius, genius!
Of course, our big ego heads, we're going to have to go first with our genius picks, BroMob, because I'm going to be honest, we did pretty good this week. BroMob, I said back-to-back weeks, I doubled down. Kirk Cousins, I'm not disappointed. 333 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick in this game, but it didn't even matter. 27.3 fantasy points for you if you were able to pick him up, start him, stream him, whatever it is. I hope you're listening because he had a huge game. I also said to sit Daniel Jones because that New England defense is for real. 161 yards, 1 touchdown. It was that big touchdown, the Golden Tate, but outside of that, 3 interceptions, only 5.2 fantasy points in this game. My solid gold start of the week, Brian, David Johnson. He didn't quite get the number 1 running back, so I owe you some money there, but I'm not disappointed in that. He had a top 5 outing at the position, 34 yards rushing, 6 catches for 68 yards, 2 total touchdowns for 25.2 fantasy points. And then finally, I said to sit Melvin Gordon. It was a bad matchup, guys. Pittsburgh's defense is really good against the run. They're really fast from side to side on the field. That's kind of the Chargers' game in the running back position there. So Melvin Gordon held to 18 rushing yards, 3 catches, 30 yards, only 6.3 fantasy points in this game. Ouch if you started him or if you had nobody else to start other than him.
Not only is the Steelers' defense good, Chad, but the Chargers' offensive line is struggling.
It's really bad.
Yeah, it's been bad, and there's I believe they're starting centers out right now, so that's another part too. I find a little shaky, especially good against good defensive fronts. So Gordon, I'm a little nervous about him to move forward on. My genius picks here, Chad. I've got a long list, so prepare yourself. I'm going to run through them quickly. Stream Kyle Allen, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, 17.4 fantasy points. Not a bad stream. Wasn't great. Doesn't blow the doors off, but it's a great little stream.
That's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Stream Broncos defense. They allowed 0 points, 20 fantasy points on the day. Start Kyler Murray, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, ran the ball 11 times for 32 yards. He had 28.8 fantasy points. That was a huge day for him. Start DJ Moore, 7 catches for 73 yards. He also ran the ball once for 13. He had 12.1 fantasy points. Not a bad day, not a great day either. Just watched Jamal Williams run in for a touchdown, and I want to punch myself in the eye. Start Austin Hooper, 8 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown, 21.7 fantasy points. And to wrap it up, sit Delaney Walker, 3 catches for 43 yards, 5.8 fantasy points.
Yeah, Austin Hooper, he's for real, man.
He's
the late round tight end. Him and Mark Andrews this year, late round tight end steals for people. But Austin Hooper, I think he's the number 1 tight end in fantasy right now, and it makes sense. He's getting targeted often. He's getting big yardage, big touchdowns. He looks good, man.
Yep, I agree.
All right, let's get into our not so good starts, BroMob, and talk about those dumb picks.
You blew it!
All right, BroMob. Well, I already kind of mentioned it. I blew it with Will Fuller, though I'm not incredibly unhappy with it. He missed out on 2 big catches that could have been for touchdowns. That's what you get with him, right? It's boom or bust. This game could have easily been a boom, but it ended up being bust. Sorry about that, BroMob. I also said to stream Gerald Everett. Listen, I feel the pain with you. I did it in the league of record. He got me 2 catches for 9 yards. Ouch. However, again, this is one of those missed opportunities. Goff missed him wide open at the end of the game there on a 4th and 7. Nobody was around him. He completely overthrew him for a 56-yard touchdown. It would have completely changed the outcome of this game, but that's the way that fantasy goes. So, bad game, my bad. And though he didn't have a good game, because I'm sitting here, I'm grasping at straws, BroMob. I did so well this week, so I'm searching for ones that I did bad on. Cortland Sutton, he was a good flex play this week. 4 catches, 76 yards. He had 9.6 fantasy points. He didn't throw up a dud for you. It was a serviceable play. So, though I don't necessarily like that output, it's better than bad. So, I'll say that I did bad on that one.
Nah, it was bad. He deserves to be in the genius picks, in my opinion. But I agree with you. You got to search because we did really well this week. There's really only 2 blue. It's sit Carson Wentz. I get it. Whatever, blah. 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran the ball twice for 23 yards. He had 20.5 fantasy points on the day. I don't know. I don't think it's a great game, but it's not a bad game. I mean, geez, you could have streamed
tough defense.
Kyle Allen. You could have streamed Kyle Allen and nearly had the same output. So I don't know. Is it good? Yeah, it's not bad. But should you expect better? Yeah, you should. Bingo bongo. My other bad pick was stream my tight end picks. So I went 0 for 2 here because both my tight end picks that I picked were down to injury. So started off with Chris Herndon, which would have been a great pick. I'm just going to tell you right now. Then he had a hammy injury during the week, ended up not playing. It sounds like he's going to miss a couple weeks here. And then I replaced him with Vernon Davis, who was going through some concussion stuff, but did practice limited on Friday. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, maybe he'll play. So then I'm like, all right, I like Vernon Davis if he plays. And then he ends up not playing. So he's a last minute scratch. I'm like, great. So So I guess, you can throw those in there to my duds.
Definitely duds. Way to go, dum-dum.
Oh, thanks, man.
You didn't help anybody with that one. Or
Neither
yourself.
did you.
So I grant you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Let's move into our waiver picks. All right, BroMob, waivers are full with some gems this week. What's up?
Is this true? This 54% of leagues?
Yes, this is absolutely true. That's why I moved him to the front. Hunter Henry, BroMob, people have dropped him just ridiculously. He's owned in only 54% of ESPN leagues. This is silly. I mean, he is a top 5 candidate at tight end. Yeah, I get it. He's been injured. But when he comes back, which he did, we saw what he can do. 2 touchdowns. I mean, huge output. What are we doing? Get this guy. If he's on your waivers, you need to go spend some money in Fab because he is worth every penny of it. The tight end position outside of that top 5 has been struggling. He's the answer. Go get him.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. So Matthew Berry from ESPN says go all in. I 100% agree. Like, can't. I'm jaw dropped. I can't believe this I can't believe I'm seeing 54%. Anyway, Will Fuller owned in is another guy you should be picking up. He is very boom bust, but he's a guy that with the right matchup, he could win you could win you the whole week. Only owned in 65.3% of ESPN leagues right now, Chad. Another guy, Chad, that I'm still baffled that he's this available is wide receiver Curtis Samuel for the New England Panthers. Jeez, the Carolina Panthers. Jeez, combining teams here. We're not forces combined. We are Captain Planet.
Panthers.
Panthers. Curtis Samuel, wide receiver for the Carolina. I almost did it again. Carolina Panthers. 70.4% of leagues he is owned in. And that just is mind blowing to me. He had a huge game this week. Had a touchdown through the air and on the ground. So really good game for him. Definitely should be rostered at a minimum. So go get him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's kind of the theme that we're going to have this week, are players that need to be rostered at a minimum.
Yeah, there's so many names here.
Right? I mean, it's just
so
ridiculous.
many names here. I can't believe some of the names I'm seeing. I can't believe.
Listen, if you're a starting running back in the NFL, you need to be rostered on a team. Even if the outings haven't been great, if he hasn't been putting up necessarily great points, he's still a flex play from time to time, depending on the matchup, because he's a starting running back. Carlos Hyde, running back for the Houston Texans. Listen, he's only owned in 65.2% of leagues. It's over 50%, but it's way lower than it needs to be. He had a huge game against the Chiefs. This is what I'm saying, man. If you're playing against a bad defense, no matter who you are, you could have a good game. So Carlos Hyde, big game here. I like him to get picked up too. Go get him.
Yeah, I think you should spend some decent fab on him, to be honest with you, Chad.
Here's
the deal. Here's why. Since they made the trade for the left tackle and the offensive line has been better, he's had back-to-back games with 20-plus carries. In those 2 games, he's had 47 carries for 176 yards and 2 touchdowns. Those are great stat lines. 12 points and 17.5 points back-to-back weeks. Go get he's got Indy, Oakland, Jacksonville over the next 3 weeks. That's a decent run. I mean, he's a guy that is easily a flex spot streamer. You could plug him in. He's a great bye week filler. You got hey, next week CMC owners. You got Christian McCaffrey on bye. Here's a great opportunity to go get Carlos Hyde.
So here's a question. You have a flex spot. You're trying to start somebody. LaShawn McCoy or Carlos Hyde?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'd go Carlos Hyde. Better offensive line. They're a team that likes to run the ball. Clearly, 47 carries in 2 games. So they're going to give him the rock. He has become a bell cow style of running back. He doesn't get the PPR stuff, so he's not involved. That's Duke Johnson's role, and that's fine. Duke Johnson fits that role well. But I think he's definitely a guy you want to play.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think Carlos Hyde is a great play, and definitely worth a pickup in your leagues. I mean, 65.2% of fantasy leagues. It's ridiculous. Curtis Samuel is owned more than him. That's ridiculous to me. Another thing that's ridiculous, Golden Tate's back, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you know this. Some people don't. He's only owned in 63.2% of ESPN leagues right now. Go get him, because Sterling Shepard's hurt. Evan Ingram's hurt. Saquon Barkley, though he'll be coming back, is also playing hurt. Golden Tate's going to be a focal point for the young quarterback, Daniel Jones here. They call him Daniel Dimes Jones for a reason, because he drops dimes, man. I mean, we saw it this week with Golden Tate. He had barely had his defender beaten, but that's all he needed with Daniel Jones throwing it over the head, right into the hands. Golden Tate, great hands, great pickup. Go get him.
Yeah, Chad, another guy you might want to consider going to get. Granted, he does have a rough schedule over the next couple weeks here, but Adrian Peterson, running back of the Redskins, only owned in 55.5% of ESPN leagues. So he's going to be out there in a lot of leagues. You might want to roster him and just kind of bench him for a bit. I wouldn't play him against the Niners next week or Minnesota the week after that, to be quite honest. But I would maybe give him a fly week 9 against Buffalo. Then he's got a cake. He goes to bye week 10, and he's got a pretty nice schedule leading into the playoffs. So he might be a guy that, again, a good bye week filler or something like that. I would definitely get him on your roster if you have the space. Another guy, Chad, that I really like, both of these guys, Carlos Hyde and Frank Gore. We were talking about Hyde earlier.
567 years old between the two guys that you're mentioning right now. Just exactly, by the way,
yeah. I believe actually this guy was birthed during the Cretaceous period. So,
yes, of course.
It's actually, quick facts. I Googled it. So
just Googled it.
But yeah, Frank Gore, running back of the Bills. Look, we've been talking about Frank Gore a lot this year. I feel like clearly people aren't listening. 56% of leagues are owning him right now. That means he's available. Math, 44% of leagues. So, look, he's got a really juicy schedule coming up here. Well, I wouldn't say really juicy, but there's two teams in particular that make it juicy to me. Next week, which is a game that I will actually be playing in personally. So I'm all in with you on this week coming up, BroMob. Frank Gore against the Miami Dolphins. Okay.
Yes.
Really good game. Then he plays Philly the next week. Very ill. Then he's got Washington, Cleveland, Miami again. So he plays Miami twice in the next 5 weeks.
And he's got Washington and Cleveland in between.
I mean, exactly. And Cleveland's decent against the run. So Cleveland, that game is maybe I don't know. But that Washington game, 3 out of 5 weeks. Yeah, I think he's playable. Absolutely. Yeah. So again, for bye weeks, we're in the middle of bye week season. This is when you need these types of guys. This is why we preach have depth. You know, these middle rounds in the draft are important. These guys on the waivers, you need to be working this. Frank Gore is a guy that can win you weeks still 700 years later.
You read about him in the history books. You read about him in the current books that
Back
are being written today.
Used to raid castles and steal and save babies and rescue people's lives. Now he's rescuing your fantasy team.
He actually still owns his shining armor that he used to fight off all of the dragons. So, interesting fact as well. Just Googled it.
I thought you were going to say a catapult, like one of those medieval times catapults.
He doesn't need one. He just barrels through walls.
He used to catapult himself right into the castle.
Didn't need to, man. He just breaks the wall, runs right through it. All 4 arms. Frank Gore for the win. All right. But just a real quick one here. I added this one in late, Brian. For leagues that have deep rosters, or the 14-team leagues, or even bigger, Benny Snell Jr. only rostered in 2.1% of fantasy leagues. He had 17 carries for 75 yards. He had 1 catch for 14 yards in this game. And James Conner got hurt. We're not quite sure what the extent of his quadriceps injury was, but he did leave this game and did not return in a very close matchup, too. So Benny Snell, I mean, this guy runs hard. This is the type of player that we saw coming out of the draft. Teams wanted him because of his hard-hitting style. Very Marshawn Lynch-esque. Not as good, I'm not saying that, but he's got that same type of running style. Benny Snell, good dart throw just for any kind of ad here. I'd go ahead and grab him if I'm in a deeper league. 2.1%. I mean, you're probably not going to have to spend much fab, if any, on him. Maybe a little bit on him, but it's worth it. All right, let's get into our hold 'em picks, Brian. I'm going to start it off with a not hold 'em, with a drop 'em. It's time to drop OJ Howard. You know what? Enough's enough. I did it before this week here. another poor outing from him. It's just what we were worried about before the season is true. Bruce Arians does not use tight ends, and it doesn't matter. I mean, this guy is a absolute beast. OJ Howard is huge. He's got great route running. He's fast. He's got good hands. It doesn't matter. He's not even scripted in any of the plays, it seems. It's all Chris Godwin. It's all Mike Evans. I'm seeing more Brashad Perriman from time to time than OJ Howard. Cameron Brate is getting touchdowns, getting used when I don't even understand why. OJ Howard, go ahead and drop him. You can feel good about it. If you want to try and trade him, good luck. No one's going to even want him. You're not going to get anything for him. I mean, I tried to send a trade offer for him to get rid of him for just next to nothing. Nothing even happened from it. So I'm moving on.
Yeah, Chad. So another guy is Baker Mayfield. We talked about him earlier. You should have moved on already, in my opinion. I'm dropping him. Yeah, get rid of him. He's only rostered in 66% of ESPN leagues, and I don't even know what the 66% are thinking about. So I'd get rid of him.
They're looking at the offense. There's upside there, but it's just too scary.
Don't care. I'm looking at the coach, and he's terrible.
He is awful.
So, I'm also looking at the offensive line, and it's terrible. So, if I'm the Cleveland Browns GM, I'm telling Freddie Kitchens, you better run the daylights out of the ball. I don't want to see Baker Mayfield throwing 30 plus times a game.
Mm-hmm. Well, why would you want him to? I mean, he's running for his life. Baker could get hurt. I mean, it's going to hurt his development as a passer, and it could hurt his health. I mean, why would you ever put your quarterback in this situation? Get Nick Chubb rolling. I mean, Kareem Hunt's coming around the corner. Nick Chubb, keep just feeding him. That's all you need to do with him. So, we're talking about Nick Chubb. I'm going to move on to a running back here. Tariq Cohen, are you holding him or are you dropping? This is an interesting one. This is an offense that's just been, it's underwhelming so far. They're on their backup QB. They got a rookie running back in David Montgomery who's looking good. Tariq Cohen, are you holding or are you dropping?
No, I'm hanging on to Tariq Cohen. I mean, look, he's only been in the end zone one time this year. He's heavily used in the passing game. I think of him more as a what's that?
Not so much in the rushing game, but definitely in the passing.
Yeah. I mean, he gets those end around routes and stuff like that where they kind of pull him from the slot and he runs around. And they'll hand it off to him, the reverses and stuff. But he's more heavily used in the passing game. And right before bye during the game with Oakland, he had 6 catches for 39 yards in that game. I see brighter days ahead. I'm keeping Cohen for streaming opportunities and for bye week matchups, but that's it. He's not a week to week starter by any stretch of imagination.
No, he hasn't been for a few weeks now either. But if people have been banking on that to be the case, they've been playing him. They put him in the flex on a regular occasion. Just understand he's a matchup play now. He's not what he was last year, but he could definitely blow up for you. And then I'm gonna finish it off here. With a guy who's one of those top 15, top 12 wide receivers projected before the season, Robert Woods. This team has been sputtering, and in results, Robert Woods has been sputtering. Are you holding him or are you trading him? And I want to give one stat line before we get into it. There's been 2 games this season where he has been targeted double-digit times, and in both of those games, he had a good fantasy output.
Yeah, so there's no way in any scenario where I'm dropping Robert Woods.
This is you're keeping him or you're trading him situation. There's no dropping.
Well, I'd be interested in fielding interest. If you have Robert Woods, I would listen to offers. He's not had a receiving touchdown yet this year. And so I imagine that's got to change at some point. He had a touchdown against San Francisco, but it was on the ground. So they're trying to find ways to get him involved, but no catches for no yards against San Francisco. I see better games ahead in the next 2 weeks. He's got Atlanta and Cincinnati. Those are both terrible defenses. I think you got to hang on to Robert Woods and for now, and then possibly trade him going into the bye or coming out of the bye if you're going to.
If you're looking to make some moves at this in the middle of the season here, are you looking at Robert Woods as a possible go get him candidate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't dislike him. I think he's got a really tough schedule going down the stretch. He's got Pittsburgh, Chicago, Baltimore, Arizona, Seattle, Dallas, San Francisco to finish the season. That's a tough lineup. Those are tough secondaries. I mean, Dallas just gave up some points, so I mean he could do well against Dallas. Seattle's always tough. He had 5 catches for 48 yards against Seattle before. Yep. So Arizona, he could probably that's a decent matchup. Baltimore, Chicago, Pittsburgh, those are going to be tough games, I feel like. So I don't know. I'm probably going to try to move him, and I don't think I'm targeting him.
Okay. You know what? We kind of skipped it here, but let's get into trades, Brian. Let's talk about some players that we need to be going for, some players that maybe we be trading away. I'm gonna start it off. We said it last week. I think we've said it 3 weeks in a row now. His value is as low as it possibly can be. Go get DeAndre Hopkins. He's getting targets. He's getting everything that can be. It's just not coming to fruition with touchdowns and things like that. But this guy, I mean, he's one of the best receivers in the league, and he gets drafted high for a reason. Go get him. I mean, if you can swap a Cooper Kupp, you might be able to swap Cooper Kupp straight up right now for DeAndre Hopkins. That's how low his value is.
I agree with you. I think you definitely, if you can go get Hopkins, you can. The problem is his name value is so strong that it's people aren't letting go of him for free, obviously. So there's that part too. I'm watching Jamal Williams just run amok. Like, what am I seeing? My eyeballs. Anyway, another guy you might want to go get, Davante Adams, as we're talking about the Packers and how irritated I am. He's a guy that, oh my God, it was a huge hit. Davante Adams is a guy that I think you can go get, and you can probably get him pretty cheap if you got guys that drafted him. He's a first-round draft pick. Anybody that drafted him is frustrated. So you likely can probably, just like Hopkins, you can probably get him for cheap. The injury has devalued him a bit more. Rodgers' lack of production has really obviously gotten him off to a slow start. So I see better days ahead. So he's another guy I would maybe target.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this time of the year is this is the time where you start doing trades. You start seeing teams move. They try to enhance their lineups for the playoffs. They try to get some wins right now. And so this is the time to trade for great players that not necessarily have name value for you, but they're very good depth. They're good wide receiver twos, and you can pair them with bigger names that might not be so good, but they still have name value with some players to get. So names like Terry McLaurin, Tyler Lockett, Phillip Lindsay, Calvin Ridley, these are all guys that I'm going to try and target right now because their value is not incredibly high. They're not huge names. People aren't trying to sell them for everything in the purse. You know what I mean? Scary Terry, He's not a bad offense, but Scary Terry or Nightmare Terror, the new nickname, hashtag Nightmare Terror, this guy's for real. He looks great. And so long as Case Keenum's there, he's a top wide receiver 2 for your team. Tyler Lockett, Brian, you got him in multiple leagues. These guys for real. Phillip Lindsay gets used all over the place. I love all of these names. Whatever you can do. I mean, Juju. This is a good example. This is the type of player. Juju, pair him with another player to trade for Terry McLaurin and another player. You know, just like do a 2-for-2 swap and add Juju in there if you're not liking the output. He still has name value. Go get someone like Terry McLaurin or go get someone like Calvin Ridley for Juju.
Yeah, another thing too, Chad, is if you're a 6-0 team or a 5-1 team to start the season, now's in addition to these wide receivers, now's the time to be looking at playoff schedules for running backs and really wide receivers too. But I'm just going to talk about running backs this week. Just a couple notable names, potables. Thought of.
Oh,
yeah, beat me to it. So you got running backs. Here are 4 running backs that have really favorable fantasy playoff schedules. Now, when we say fantasy playoffs, most leagues start their fantasy playoffs in week 14. So it's week 14, 15, and 16. And then please tell me if you're listening to this that you don't run a week 17 fantasy championship league. If you do, talk to them right now about changing that rule because you should end it in week 16 because a lot of players get sat and it ruins fantasy playoffs. But so you've got running back for the New York Jets, Le'Veon Bell. Here's his fantasy playoff schedule, Chad. Week 14, he plays Miami Dolphins. Week 15, plays Baltimore Ravens. And week 16, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, Pittsburgh championship game, that's going to be a little tough game, but the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens have been pretty rough against the rush, and rough as in not good. They're rough, not the opposing running back. Another running back is Sony Michel. I think this might be a guy you want to go grab. This might be my favorite guy. Sony Michel going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nasty playoff schedule. Another guy, James Conner, Arizona Cardinals, Buffalo Bills, New York Jets. So not as good, but a decent playoff schedule. Dalvin Cook, the Detroit Lions, the LA Chargers, and the Green Bay Packers. So, these are just 4 decent, or big name running backs that you might want to look at going and trying to make a trade. Maybe you're moving one of your running backs that has a really rough schedule of equal name value and equal potential, and you're trying to upgrade for a playoff run. So these are guys that I would be targeting in trades.
So let's say you have Zeke Elliott and you can pair him with Calvin Ridley. Would you trade those two for Dalvin Cook right now, 2-for-1 swap? That's a close one, right?
No, I don't think I would, because Zeke is Zeke's one of those guys that I think is almost matchup proof. I just want to play him every time, right? So I don't think I would, but I would if I were a Zeke owner, I would be trying to trade Zeke for like a Le'Veon Bell and a wide receiver too. If I could get a 2-4,
so the other way
to a couple. What's that?
So if you have Dalvin Cook and you can get Zeke and Tyler Lockett, or Zeke and Calvin Ridley, you would do that trade.
If I have Dalvin, no, I don't know if I would. If I have Dalvin Cook, I'm keeping him. Look at the playoffs. If you have Dalvin Cook, you're most likely 3-2 going to 4-2 or better, most likely. And so, Chad, you have him. You're going to be what, 4?
I don't even want to hear it. 5-1. But I'm really 4-2. Lost by 1 point.
4-2.
I hate the world.
Hey, your record is your record. Okay. So you're 4-2, and you're moving forward. You get to the fantasy playoffs with Dalvin Cook on your team, and you're going to be happy. You got the Lions, Chargers, Packers. And if you get to the championship game against the Packers, you got Dalvin Cook on your team. I mean, I like that. I like that a lot.
Me likey.
Me likey.
All right, BroMob. Well, that's going to do it for today's show. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday and Wednesday to stay up to date on your fantasy football world and to gather any insights on how to dominate your fantasy football leagues.
Absolutely. And BroMob, pray for me that I get more Aaron Jones in the second half of this game as I'm watching it and they're running off the field. Also, you can follow us on our website at thefantasyfootballbros.com for all kinds of rankings and stuff like that. We run our weekly starts and sits on that website. You can also check out keytothetitle.com for all of our streaming picks, our sleeper picks, etc. All kinds of data. Free. The website's free. Create an account. Keytothetitle.com.
If you're not on Apple Podcasts, we're also on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts. It's taking a bit longer for iHeartRadio than we were expecting, but we'll definitely be on there here soon. We're pretty much everywhere, BroMob. Just go out there and listen to us. Let your families know. Let your friends know. Word of mouth is the best way of getting us out there, and helping us grow and helping us get more content to you. You really are the best fans in the world. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FFBros Podcast, and be sure to tune in every week. We'll see you tomorrow, BroMob.
Come on, Aaron Jones. Let's do this.